Well, I'm back here in the woods. Some of you might recognise this. It's a woods I've been to before, and I've got with me today some minimal gear, just my day pack. I've got some water, very minimal tools, and for food I'm going to use British MRE, so some rations, the military rations from the British Army, which I've not really tried much of myself, so I'm looking forward to testing those out. And as usual, the plane has arrived. The plan is I'm going to set up a shelter. I'm late today, guys. It's 2:05, so I'm pretty late. Sunset is at 5:43. I've only got a few hours, and I'm going to try and build a bushcraft shelter. Very minimal, small, stealth, low angle, you know, minimal effort. I don't want to be expending too many calories. It's not a survival trip, but I am fighting the light. So get the shelter set up first, then get the fire on, get some food on, chill out, spend the night here. I hope you guys enjoy it. It's a really mild day. We're into double figures, 10 degrees Celsius at the moment, going down to possibly 2, maybe 3 degrees Celsius tonight, so it's not cold. Lots of debris on the floor, and you can also see there's lots of green behind me as well, which is moss. That could work in my favour. A little bit more time consuming to harvest, but a very good material that insulates your shelter and keeps the water off. It's not entirely waterproof. I'm going to try and use dead materials where I can. I've got no axe with me. I've just got a saw, a very small folding hand saw, and a bushcraft knife. That's all I need. I'm going to use all the dead wood. There's so much dead wood lying around me. I'm just going to make use of it. It might be slightly rotten, but it's okay as long as it's not, the rotten bit's not structurally above my head. I should be fine. I'm going to use this tree that's just here. It's a live tree. There's no dead hanging branches above. There's no kind of widow makers that look like they're going to fall on top of me. It's going to be pretty safe. Let me just show you quickly what I've got in the pack before I start building the shelter. So here's the pack I'm using, TA Trekker. It's my own TA Outdoors branded backpack. There's more info in the description. Here's what I've got. I always have a shamag under these flaps in my backpack. It's just handy for anything really. Keeping kit dry or drying your hands, anything like that. A couple of gloves, easy enough, they just sit on the top. This is the ration pack. It's a 24-hour ration pack. Menu 2. And there's all the ingredients of what's in it, all the meals. To be honest, it's big. I probably could last longer than that. That's a lot of food for me. So I'm looking forward to trying that. We'll go through that later. Then at the front here, bushcraft knife, folding saw, no axe. I told you I'm not going to use an axe on this trip. This is just my fire lighting kit. And there, just keeps my cordage, fire lighting kit. I always keep this in my backpack. It's a easy flat pouch to pack in. Then I've got an air mattress because it saves me having to build a raised bed. This is obviously a thermarest. It's got a good R value. It's warm today. This will be fine directly on the floor. I've got a bivvy bag as well to stop this getting damp, and then a small sleeping bag. This is my 3-season bag, I think. No, one more. I've just got a folding seat cover, again one of the TA Outdoors ones. And that's all I've got. On the side, sorry, forgot to talk about the sides. I've got a litre of water and a stainless steel cup to cook the meals in. And then this side, just a folding cup anyway if I want a hot drink and to cook at the same time. I can pour my hot drink in there, cook in that one. And my first aid kit. And that's it. That's all that's in my day pack. So it's pretty minimal. It's not bare basics because I've got my air mattress and bivvy bag, which are not necessities, but I've got them anyway. So I've got my ridge pole. Now normally I would, when I'm setting up a shelter like this, I would want that back end of the ridge pole against the vertical tree at the back so that this side doesn't slip down. It can't slip anywhere. But it doesn't quite reach the tree. I've dug it in at the back there, and that should be fine. It'll be enough to hold the weight of the debris on top. But here's a little trick you can do to keep this nice and sturdy. Just got some cordage here, and I'm just going to tie a simple overhand knot there, and another overhand knot, but not tie it off. Not tie it off. Leave it like that. Canadian jam knot, any sort of jam knot that you want to call it. It's got different names. It's a jam knot. If I put loads of weight on this ridge pole, for example, if I swing my body on it now, it's going to fall down there and my whole shelter is going to get destroyed. So grab your pole. I've just sawn this off, just a couple of inches in diameter vertical pole, and I'm just going to tighten this knot up against it. Sorry about the planes in the air, guys, it's obviously a busy day. There, so that's just jammed. It doesn't have to be an amazing knot, right? That's flush against the tree. I can't push that any further. If I lift this up, now bang it down a bit and keep it on there, and tie this off to the rest of the tree. Come around here like this once. On the second go I can pull tight. It's going to want to kick out like that. Now a couple of wraps over those wraps. Essentially I'm wrapping over the horizontal, vertically now over the horizontal wraps that I've just made. One lock off knot, two lock off knots. Right, there you go. Now I can move this ridge pole, but that pole is not going to go anywhere. Now the problem with this is it's going to roll like that. That's not good, because once the wind and the hits the side of the shelter, it could move that roll, and as soon as this goes, the whole shelter is going to get destroyed. So we need to make a quick notch in here so that that will sit a bit more flush and it won't rock around. So now I'm standing above the log. I'm just going to come in at an angle about there. A little bit more. That'll do. That's all I need. Just that little notch. Now, and there you go. Much less chance of that. Look, I can't rock it to the side as much now. It's much harder. So just that simple notch here now means I can take my weight on the whole log. It can take my weight. It's easily going to take enough sticks and bracken, which is really light, and moss, which is going to put a bit of weight on it. But the fact is, it can take my weight. It's going to be able to take that. Now, I don't need shelter going all the way down to the end. I only need enough to cover my whole body. So I'm just going to clear the ground here a bit. So that's the shelter built. It's now 15:38, 3:38. What's that? I started at 2:05. That's about an hour and a half. So that just gives you a realistic expectation of the type of shelter you can do. Obviously, a lot of that time was taken up by filming as well, so you have to factor that in. I'm changing the camera angles and getting those shots, but rather than burn too much energy sawing, when you feel yourself getting tired, I just started to snap the wood as well. And it's just, it's saving time. At the end of the day, I'm fighting the light, fighting the sunset. You can see from the angle of the sun on my face, it's starting to get towards late afternoon. We've now got, just 2 hours until sunset, which is plenty of time now. I feel you can relax more. Once you get your shelter built, you can relax more. But that just gives you an idea of, you know, the progress that something that can be built in an hour and a half. So this is one of my favourite types of shelters, just a real simple lean-to. Very good kind of survival shelter. However, if I was really in a survival situation, which I'm not now, but if I was, I probably wouldn't spend as much energy doing a shelter like this. I'd look for something that had a more natural shelter already, you know, like something like a cave or a particular tree that had fallen down at the right angle, and just seek a natural shelter that where most of it is already done already, and it doesn't need too much work to add sides to it or a roof to it. But hour and a half, that's what can be done. I'm happy with that. So next up, going to get fire going and then have a look at these rations. I'm interested to see what they're like and what they taste like. It's a beautiful evening, and like I say, sun's just about to set soon. It's just a really nice evening. It feels like spring's in the air. You can hear the birds, starting to see the buds now coming out on the trees. And we've, over here in Britain, certainly down in the south, we're starting to see the cherry blossom coming out, which is really nice. It's just good to be out in the woods. It's a great time of year for camping, just before the bugs start getting bad. Got to be careful of this fire as well. Just where I put it, there's a lot of pine needles on the floor. We haven't had much rain again lately, so which has been nice, but at the same time it's pretty dangerous in this sort of woodland. So I may have to get some stones. We'll see. I'm going to leave that gap there, you can see over in the west where the sun's about to set. I'm going to leave that open because it's such a mild evening. I don't really need to close that off, it's just wasting time. And you can see that some of these logs, they look like they've got a bit of fungi growing on them, so they're starting to decompose. But I made sure that that decomposition was only really on the surface of the log and it's not starting to break through. Just by tapping them against the tree, generally you can tell if it's rotten through or if it's still got a bit of life to it, that it will be able to hold up some moss and debris. So there's a small stream or river that's about 500 meters that way, and I've been there before. I've had fires around that area before, and I've got these round stones. I'm just aware that the forest floor, you know, is starting to get drier. It is damp still, but I don't want to run the risk, so I knew where these stones were, not going to lie to you, went and got them. I've used them for a fire before. I've kept them away from the damp now, and I know people will say, oh, smooth round stones, be careful, they will explode. All stones to an extent will hold a bit of moisture, but I know that these have been out away from the stream itself, where I've had fires previously. So just going to make a ring out of these, just to create a ringed in area for the fire to help control it and just prevent anything from spreading. It's better to be safe than sorry. I want to be able to use and come to these places in the future, and I think it's important that, you know, we look after it and as well leave no trace. One of the things I was going to say is another great use for the shamag, this scarf really, is carrying things. And just, you know, these are awkward to carry. When you have more than one or two, they start to get quite awkward to carry, so that's where something like this comes in really handy. Take a look at these rations. The newer rations, these ones, they come with these like a carry handle. I've not seen them before like this. Okay, what I've done quickly is just lay the ration pack out for you so you guys can see it from the perspective of all of it. So what we have is the peanuts, 2 packets of peanuts there, chili con carne, pasta bolognese, chicken, sausage and beans, and then the rice there. And then for pudding, cinnamon cake, and another fruit cake there. Over here you got the drinks, 1 energy drink there, which is lime flavoured. This one is a peach iced tea, and that is a grapefruit flavoured drink powder. Then you've got your hot chocolate, you've got cheddar cheese spread, and a spicy red chilli sauce. And then over here you've got there's 3 teas, 2 instant coffees, 4 sugars, 4 creamers, so for your hot drinks, 3 mints, a spork, 4 alcohol-free antibacterial wipes, a packet of tissues, some water purification tablets. It looks like about 6 water purification tablets, and some storm matches. That is pretty good. Pretty impressed with that. So I could fart about with flint and steel, matches, or fire steel, but I'm not going to mess around today, just going to use a lighter. So because of the nature of the forest floor, you can see it's damp, it's a different colour, it's not really light brown, it's quite dark brown, it is damp. But because of the nature of the area around me, what I'm doing is keeping everything small, keeping all the sticks no bigger than the fire ring itself. Then I can really keep control of it nice and easily. And if I need to, I can roll the stones over it to put the fire out as well. Just keeping all the kindling really small as well. Again, no longer than the width of the fire, so it doesn't fall out, it's all controlled. I tend to do this in the summer if I'm having fires, although I wouldn't have a fire on this type of floor in the summer. A bit of birch bark here, which I harvested earlier off a tree not too far from here. and just get some small strips. Save some for the morning as well, but essentially that's the fire lay at the bottom, so that'll burn as well. You want to burn the white side if you can. So turn it upside down. Just get that white side burning first. It's quite a breeze actually coming now. And then when you're ready, get another one. Put about 500 ml of water in it. Just put it near the fire to begin with, not on it. Doesn't matter if the ash gets in there because the ration's going to go, it's in a sealed packet, but obviously if I want a hot drink, which I do, it yeah, needs to be covered. So while we're waiting for that to boil, I'm going to try the energy drink powder. This one is lime with lots of the usual additives and stuff in it. Let's have a go. Probably be bouncing off the walls after this. Cheers. It's actually really refreshing. That is so much better than I thought it would be. So much better. I like that. I like the lime. So all I'm doing is moving some coals over, because that ground's going to be really warm. I don't want them this side of the handle. Now I'll build the fire up on this side, but there's some hot coals underneath, so it won't take long now for that to boil. Like I say, it's all a controlled fire, it's all only small stuff, small twigs. I need 8 minutes of burn time to cook something, and that's it. Don't need it for heat, the fire. So we'll just keep building it up like that to the one side. Good. Let's give it a go. Not bad. It's better than it was years ago. Last time I had rations was when I was about 13 years old. An old teacher of mine, an old school teacher, who was in the TA, in the Territorial Army at the time, he used to get rations come through, and he he used to basically teach us survival tips and survival techniques, and I learned quite a bit from him back in the day, and not just in the classroom but just out in the woods. It turns out, I met up with him a couple of years ago actually. It turns out he then went on to progress. I don't know whether he went to the Paras or where, but he passed selection, he passed SAS selection, and he got into the SAS. And I met up with him a couple of years ago, and he seems to be doing really well actually, doing sort of security work at the moment, I think. But he doesn't let on to me much about what he did get up to, as is the case with most SAS stuff. But we still keep in touch, and yeah, that was the last time since when I was 13 years old. That's when I last had this type of ration, and they are much better now. Much better. And they actually make a spoon, or give you a spoon long enough, to get to the bottom of the pack, which is a nice change. I don't need to do anything more to this shelter. It's not as angled as I'd like it, so if it did rain, chances are maybe the edge of my shoulder and things would get a bit wet. But the fact of the matter is the prevailing wind is coming from that direction, which is why I built it here. And it was a quick hour-and-a-half shelter, remember. If I'd have made it longer, I'd have had to cut longer sticks and gather more material. If I'd have made it more at an angle, also would mean that the weight is on the ridgepole more, rather than, if it's flat like this, it's going to be on the ridgepole more. If it's more vertical, the weight's going to be transferred more to the ground. So that's the reason I did what I did. This is a stool cover that folds down into a little canvas kind of triangle into the back of your backpack. And it's a nice seat. I've just lashed some sticks together that are about, well, nearly the length of my arm. And that leaves my legs at a right angle, which is comfortable for me. And it just acts as a seat. It's just a camp seat. Made by my buddy Tim. A lot of the gear, if you're wondering guys, all the kind of TA Outdoors branded gear you can get from taoutdoors.com, and then any of the other stuff that I use, the mattress and things like that, is on my Amazon affiliate page. I'll put links in the description below. But yeah, I'm going to tuck in to the cinnamon cake now. Cinnamon cake, 85 grams. And is it out of date? I ate something that was out of date earlier. Nope, calories in that. 393 calories in that. 15 grams of fat. 57 grams of carbohydrates. Plenty of carbs in this. I do like the colour of the low-key sort of coyote tan colour of the ration packs. That's the cinnamon cake. Oh, that's nice. Quite overpowering, quite a lot of cinnamon. Really dry in the middle. I'm going to give that a 6. I don't think I could finish it, it's so dry. It's not one you can really eat in one go. Sunset is in 8 minutes. I'd say that's about right, to be fair. And there's the setup. No gaps, you can see the gaps to the right, but no gaps under the shelter, which is the main thing. I'm just going to sit and chill. Put a few more sticks in the fire, and then call it a night later. Well, I want to call it a night. It's coming up 9 o'clock. There's still a bit of bird noise, but I am yeah, I'm tired, and I'm looking forward to waking up and cooking some more. Is it bad that I'm excited to cook some more rations in the morning, some MREs? But it's just good to be out, and hope you guys are all doing well anyway. I appreciate everyone who's watching and dropping comments and likes and the usual. I do appreciate it. Without all that, I wouldn't be doing what I do, so thank you. So I'll catch up with you guys in the morning. So next day, slept pretty good actually. It's so dry, no rain whatsoever last night. Very still today, no wind, and the birds are just waking up. I've just collected a load of fire resources. I didn't need to film it because you've seen me do it obviously loads of times in the past, and sometimes it's quicker obviously to just collect it and not have to film it all. But I've got my very small twigs, slightly bigger sticks, and then this is the biggest I'm going to need for breakfast to cook up some more rations. Because I've got a bit more time now on my side, I'm not fighting the light, I'm going to do a different type of fire lighting, and I've got some resources here. I'll just show you. Tons of you have been asking when my pack pouches are going to be back in stock on the website. The answer is we're going to get another batch done soon, the same with the backpacks. So I can't really tell. We might have the shows this year, the Bushcraft show and things like that, so it might be that we don't get them back in stock on the website for another month, another couple of months, maybe 2 months, but we might do a run next month. So subscribe to the email list to be notified on my website, taoutdoors.com, notified of when these go live. This is the medium one. This is where I keep all my fire lighting gear, so, and cordage as well. So I've got an old cramp ball fungus here, which I'm going to use today, this morning. I'll put a link to a video. It's a really interesting fungus, but essentially you can, yeah, you get these off dead or decomposing ash trees, and they're really good for fire lighting. Again, link to the video in the description that will explain how to use this for fire lighting. But in here is my flint and steel kit, and also a magnifying glass and some jute twine as well, which I could fluff up. But what I'm going to need is this, which is in this little pot. I keep a roll of charred cloth. And this is really not that good, this particular cloth. It's really quite hard to get a spark on, but it does eventually, so it might take me a while. So I need to replace that with some better cloth, but I need that. Then I have my flint striker, very small one, fits in there, does the job, and a piece of flint, and a real small piece of flint actually. Again, I need to update this kit, get some better materials in there. So I'm going to use this today. I've got some dried bracken which I collected earlier, some dead bracken, and we'll see how we go. You can see how bad this char cloth is, how many strikes it's taking to try and get the sparks in there. Okay, we have something. You see that? I'm going to transfer that to this. Right, now we're good. I'm going to change the camera angle for you guys. I'm just making a bit of a bird's nest in this bracken. There's my cramp ball, still smouldering away. Hopefully you can see it. You see that in there? Let's change angle so you can actually see the fire. Get sticks on. Key is, bracken is a bit of a flash tinder, so even though it looks like it's burning now, these sticks are not ignited enough yet to carry on burning, so I'm just going to keep adding oxygen. I keep this sealed up, this little tinder tin, with a piece of bicycle inner tube just cut off, and it just fits perfectly. It's like an Altoids tin but a little bit taller, I think, and it just fits perfectly like that, just covering it. And then what I do is, so for example, just then I was saying how the char cloth was pretty rubbish and that it was quite low, and as well as so was the flint I had. So I keep this little notebook in the back. It's a Write in the Rain notebook, so it's like the waterproof paper one. I'll put links to it in the description, but I keep that and a pen, and at the back of it I just write a list. There's a list there. I just write a list of items that need updating. So for example, I know now that my char cloth is low and I need a new flint, and then I'll just, with that list, add to it as and when items run low, as well as keep a little diary and things like that of how the things went, the trip went. But it's mostly for just taking note of the gear I've got and what's running low, and it takes up no room in the backpack whatsoever. I think I might go for the hot chocolate, because if you look, it's actually a ration style hot chocolate, whereas the rest of the tea and the coffee is just your standard instant tea and coffee which I've had before. So it's got to be the hot chocolate, and then the sausage, beans and chicken ration pack. I'm going to have some food left over for just another trip, to be honest. Looking forward to tucking into some of this. Just move the coals up against it, they're hot enough to boil it. You don't need the flame to do it, you just need these hot coals will do it. Burnt the bag a bit, hopefully that doesn't affect the food. Be eating some melted plastic. Let's put some hot choc in there. And we made use of the hot water. So I thought the sausage would be chopped up, but it's actually a whole sausage, which makes it a bit more awkward to eat. But actually the sport can look. Ooh. The sport can chop it up. So let's give it a go. Piping hot. Oh, that's good. Where's the chicken? I think it's chunks of it. That's a solid 8. Chicken, sausage and beans. Well, my impressions so far on the rations, the MREs, the British MREs, it's pretty good, to be fair. They're better than I expected. Like I said, they're better than what I've had before in the past. They've obviously improved them a lot over the years. They're not amazing. They're not as good as cooking food from fresh, and they're packed full of preservatives and E numbers, but at the end of the day, in terms of getting the calories that you need, they do the job fine. So I'm pleased with them. But it's nice to be able to use the water again that was already warm for a hot drink. So expect some more ration videos coming up. Let me know, guys, if you've got any ideas of rations I should try from other military countries. And just, I know there's the US one I could see. I think you can get here in the UK. But yeah, if anyone knows where you can get different types of rations, then let me know. Drop a comment. I'd be interested in trying some more out on the videos. Right, hot chocolate test time. Still piping hot. That is banging. That's a really good hot chocolate. Oh, it's a solid 9. I'm glad I went for that, not the coffee and the tea actually. But yeah, lots of good things. We're starting to come out of lockdown in about a month's time here in the UK. So there's lots of different places I can go. I've got some great trips planned. Canoe trips, packcraft trips. Gonna convert the Land Rover as well that I've got. Gonna do some work on my Defender and turn it into a bit more of a camper style. It's only a 90, so it's only a small short wheelbase Defender. Just think it's something a bit different, and I can access places that I wouldn't normally be able to access by foot in terms of distance wise to get to. And I can travel further afield and see some new places and camp in some new places. So I just put some holes in the ground like this, all the way around the edge of the fire. Deep as I can do it. Get some water in those holes. Around the edge. And just watch it for a bit as well, just to check. Let it cool down and then dig your finger in to see if the ground's still hot. Well, I've just spent the last 20 minutes or so packing away the remainder of the camp. So the sleeping bag, bivvy bag, it's all quite easy to roll up and fits nice and compact into the backpack itself. And yeah, then it was onto the shelter, and that's the benefit of this type of shelter. It's really easy to just take down and dismantle, just remove the moss and the outer debris on the top layer, spread it out over where I'd previously been harvesting it from, and then just take off the sticks and just discarded them around the forest. And then yeah, it was just a case of making sure where the fire was cooled down and there was no smouldering embers, and just putting the remaining material over that. So essentially it looks like it does now behind me, just leave no trace. Obviously it's a bit scuffled up, but once the pine needles start falling again, which is all the time at the moment, that'll just cover that area in a nice, you wouldn't even know that I'd been here, and that's what it's all about at the end of the day. So this is it. That is the end of the overnighter. I've really enjoyed it. I hope you guys have too. I do, like I said yesterday, I really appreciate all your views and your comments. Those of you that do drop comments, I do appreciate it. And yeah, it's been an amazing journey. We're upwards of 1.7 mil now, I think. Who knows? Maybe we could hit 2 million this year. That would be awesome. If you guys are watching this and you're not subscribed, hit the subscribe button. It'd be really cool to hit that milestone. Feels like only yesterday that I passed 1 million, and it's just been an incredible journey. I'm glad to be sharing it with you all. But yeah, this is it. Thanks so much for watching. I do appreciate it, and I'll catch up with you guys in the next episode.